Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast Coaching Conversations with Sisters. Our podcast is rooted in the deep bond between two sisters. That's me, Dinara, and my sister, Dilara. And we're both passionate about helping our listeners grow and evolve. I chose this title because it reflects the uniqueness of our approach. We're both professional coaches accredited by ICF, and it also allows us to blend with a warm, supportive, and let's say familiar atmosphere. Um, our plan is to do this regularly. Today is the first podcast episode, and I just wanted to start with introducing Dilara to the space. And Dilara, what do you think about the name of this podcast? I sort of created it today and I told you. How did you feel about it?
Hello, Dinara. Hi, everyone. I think this name is wonderful. It's fantastic because it reveals our beautiful relationships between sisters. They are very kind, they're very gentle, they're very caring and loving. And I guess that the meaning of our podcast will be the same warm attitude to our listeners. So I think it's great. Thanks for inviting me to this project.
That's awesome. I'm really, really excited about where this space will take us. Dear listeners, we hope that you find a lot of value here, but we as coaches want to emphasize that the amount of value or benefit you take from it is in your hands. It's your responsibility. Our mission is to bring some ideas or concepts to the surface that once you have encountered them, it makes it impossible for you to continue living in the old way. And it's important for us not just to know some information, but to sort of realize it, to have some insights in our mind. So we hope that this space will allow you to gain more awareness, ease, and a greater interest in self-development and personal growth. So let's voice out the topics that we find particularly interesting, Dilara. So, as for me, I am a great fan of relationships between men and women, also interpersonal relationships when it comes to family, colleagues, workspace. I'm also a fan of lifelong learning and education, and I suppose also adapting to new places because I have had a chance to live in different countries, just like you, Dilara. So, could you add a bunch of other topics that you find interest in?
Think that we have a lot in common in terms of our life cycle and how it's going. Uh, so we both in a very healthy, beautiful relationships. We both left to live in other countries, and we both, I think, care about ourselves, our bodies, and our health. So I think this is one more topic that we can talk about: how to keep a balanced life, a balanced diet, and exercising, and just keep healthy. And yeah, relationships with yourself, with partners, with friends, with kids, with everyone. I think it's one of the most important things that we all came to this life to learn how to deal with. And of course, I think we'll come to maybe some other interesting topics for conversations later on.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing. When you said that the topic of relationships is important for us, I cannot ignore the fact that I learned from the Harvard University that social relationships are the thing that affects our happiness most. So that is something really incredible to keep in mind, that it's really important for us to nurture the connections, the relationships, and feel that we're part of a community. So I would love to talk about this in more depth in the future. For today, I thought we could touch on topics such as the power of intention and inspiration. If you ask me why I chose those topics, I'll tell you that these are the topics I associate with you most. I think that you are a person that has made a lot of your dreams come true somehow. You know how to dream, how to speak to yourself with love, how to manifest, and also how to just radiate inspiration and lightness. So I thought that we could start with this topic, and maybe you could share how the word intention came into your life. So, what's an intention? What's the power of intention, and how is it related to your life in general? I would love the speakers to learn about it as well.
Thanks, Dinara. You have a very high level of thinking about me, but we'll see how it goes. So far, I can say that probably at some point my life can be called that live it according to my intentions. And I think it all started many years ago in my late teenage years. Yeah, when I was around, I think, 16, 17. And I was curious. I was a book lover as our mom. And thanks to her, actually, that she was very much into reading and she had different types of literature. And one of her shelves was devoted to psychological literature. And I think there were several books that I read. And one of them was actually, it was called The Power of Intention. And I think with my very young and like open mind, this book came in the right time, and I absorbed it very, I think, fast. And I just was so curious, and I wanted to try something. Like, why not? Why shouldn't I try this? So I was following some steps, some instructions of this book about how to make your intention, how it works, how to communicate with the universe, how to visualize what you want. And I think, yes, this is one of the most initial trigger points of how I started to work with this power of mindset and started to realize that a lot of things that happen in our life created by us, by our intentions and by our inner power. So it means that everything starts in us, that can create whatever we want, and there's the our life reflects the results of our thoughts. Does it make sense? So
Yeah, totally.
yeah, so for example, let's say um, if you want something, you should let yourself first imagine that you have it. If you don't do it, you will not get it because first you should live your desired life or your desired object, and you should feel it that you already have it, because this helps to like to push the engine and start coming towards the desired intention. For example, if you want a car, yes, and you just maybe had a glimpse of imagination in your mind, and that's it. You never went to sit in this car, you never tested it, you don't have the pictures of this car, you don't like make any research, you don't feel it, you don't imagine yourself driving this car. I think the chances that you'll get it are very low. There are chances, but they're very low. Rather than, for example, you visualize yourself sitting in this car, you go to the shop, you try it, you test it, you feel it, you already know this car, it already starts being part of your reality. And then your work, yes, your financial situations might improve dramatically, even when you don't expect it. For example, when you say to the universe your intention, and you say it to yourself, yes, you say it to the universe, you start working you start living this intention already, and you might think, oh, okay, but how can I get the resources, for example, to get what I want? But the thing is that when you push it, they all the powers of this world, they come to help you, because the universe loves you. Yes, God loves you, and all these powers, they come to help you. And even, for example, this uh, like step to get um, financial possibility to get this card might come to your life from some unexpected side. For example, it might be some change in your work, in your career. It might be a new job offer. It might be a gift. It might be a lottery. It might be your husband's gift. It might be, some super special discount. Any can happen in your life, so that your intention would come true. So this is like one of the example, I think, which is very easy to describe and to see on this example how it works. I hope it made
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really appreciate that you not only shared your first, let's say, your first encounter with the intention through the book when you were a teenager, but also you have illustrated that with an example. And what I want to tell the listeners, just because I have that inner intention to say it and I'm going to follow it, that these are not just empty words. This is a real person, and I am a witness of, and I have observed on multiple occasions throughout many years that Dilara has created a mindset in her that allows magical things to happen in her world, because she is really linked, she's really connected with her true desires. And I would say that the components of setting intentions, let me know if I got it correctly, that it feeling right in your body when you're just like, okay, you're feeling that you're expanding, or you're feeling that this really belongs to you, you feel more confident or happy, right? When that has already entered your life, then there is faith. There is an important aspect of it. You believe that you deserve it, that it's going to come to your life, you just don't know how. And then comes the step of letting go, not being too obsessed about it, not being fixated on it, and then that can lead to anxiety. But it's just letting go, and with your whole system, you know that it's coming your way. And obviously you're taking certain steps, you are reminding yourself of something, you also have some sort of, you're more alert to these kinds of things right around you, so that you can hear the right word, the right opportunity that can let that happen. Are there any steps that I missed, Dilara, when it comes to intentions and making them happen?
Yes, I think you fall through all the steps, and I understand that this all might seem like, kind of like, oh, it's so like well known, and they say it from every source or internet, books and everything. But maybe because this is true, and maybe because it works, that's why I'm glad that now it's already so well spread. These types of, information about how to make your intentions come real. Because when I was a teenage, yes, in my 16s, I guess the only source to get some information were books, and it wasn't well known, this information. And I don't know how it came to me and why I started following this, but and even the first years after I read, for example, in this book, I didn't see the results. For example, I don't remember exactly my first intentions that I was reading there in my notebook while I was reading the book, but I know that it took some time before intentions, visualizations, they started to come true. It took some time. So I think the most important thing is when you, for example, learn this information, yes, and you start doing it, following some steps. Don't expect that miracle can happen, and everything will come straight away. No, it might take time anyway, because nothing can happen just out of nowhere. And everything, I also believe that everything happens also in the right time when you are ready. If something doesn't happen with you, it means that you're not ready. So
Mhm.
just be patient and believe, always believe in your true intention, because if its intention is true and it's very sincere, it comes from the bottom of your heart, from your soul. Yes, it means a lot for you. It anyway will happen with you.
I appreciate that you added this aspect about sincerity and that it should be coming from the bottom of our heart, because a lot of times people are really confused. Is it really my goal, or is it just something that is expected of me by the society or by my family? Is it really what I truly want, or is it my old dream that expired and it no longer drives me? And I love metaphors. So whenever you said that we should that it takes time for certain intentions to come to your life as physical objects or as events. When we look at nature, a palm tree needs months to grow, or a watermelon starts with a little seed in the ground, right? And also, another funny example is something that I've heard from one of my teachers, that it's impossible to give birth to nine babies in 1 month. It takes 9 months to give birth to one healthy baby. And since we're talking about intentions, and Dilara already shared her history, let me say that I truly understood what intention meant when I was in my late 20s. So Delara was way more advanced as a teen, who read the book about the power of intention. I lived in the world where I was talking about wishes, about goals, about ambitions, but I never truly understood the word intention. How was I introduced to it? I was doing a retreat. It was some sort of spiritual, at the same time, mindset kind of work. And the teacher asked us, what's your main intention for this retreat? And I was living some sort of, I wouldn't say crisis, but I had a feeling that I'm living like two lives at once and I'm not really sure what I am, who I am, and what I truly want. So my intention was to be honest with myself. And it took some balls to create this intention and to come to it. And the thing with intentions, is that when we intend, for example, to be braver, for example, you might say, oh, this year is all about courage. I need to be brave. My intention is to be brave so that I can then achieve greater goals. When you intend that, it doesn't mean that there won't be tigers around you anymore. There won't be any lions that scare you. What it means is that there will be amazing situations, opportunities for you to strengthen the muscle of your courage or of your bravery. And they will be gifts from the universe, right? These kinds of situations. So, yeah, my intention to be more honest with myself, to be authentic, and to understand my needs, it came true because I set that intention from the depth of my heart, from the bottom of my heart, with sincerity, and I understood why I needed it. So, when we set goals, when we set dreams, it's also for us important to understand why. And that's when coaching comes in, right, Dilara? Because when we do coaching sessions, why is one of the most common questions we ask, right?
Yes, absolutely agree that without knowing why, less likely that it's your intention, your goal, your dream, because your true goal is you always have an answer to the question why. And any idea that comes to your mind that about you want something, you'd better ask yourself always, why do I need this? Why? Why? And answers should come not from your brain, but from your heart. From your
Between I need to do things to be motivated, to be disciplined. And then there are people that are like, oh, I just wait for my inspiration to step in and I know it will take me wherever I need to. And I personally experience this sort of conflict, especially when it comes to the feminine side, masculine side. when it comes to just living with joy and lightness or living with more stress. So I just want to ask you, oh, yeah, do you believe in inspiration? What does it mean to you? And how is it connected to your life and to us women?
It's a very interesting topic, Dinara. Thanks for raising this inspiration. Yes, when I think about inspiration, what comes first to my mind is that inspiration is about creativity, it's about art, and it's also about action. So what I mean is that even when you say yes about inspiring, like everyday casual clothes like jeans, t-shirt, sneakers, yes, but in the bottom of her heart, she believes and she wants, for example, to look very feminine, to look very like more like relaxed, more like gracious, yes. But anyway, she wears this type of clothes. And she thinks, okay, maybe someday I'll get an inspiration and maybe I will change my style. And she's waiting and waiting for this inspiration, but it never comes. So, what she needs, this lady, I think, is just to go to the store or somewhere and just put on this clothes that she wants. It might be a dress, it might be a blouse and skirt, it might be high heels, something that she doesn't let herself to wear in everyday life because, for example, she doesn't have it or she doesn't have a mood for it. Maybe even she has something in her wardrobe, in her closet, but she waits for a special occasion, yes, to wear some dress or skirt, high heels. But what happens with her if she one day decides to do this action and just put it on? Yes, I think this is the time when she gets this inspiration. She sees herself in the mirror and she looks at herself with different eyes. She sees in the mirror a different woman. Her eyes change, her smile, like her even moves. They might change when she changes her clothes. She might get some new ideas. She might get some new desires, wishes. Maybe she might change her plans. Maybe she might want to prepare a romantic dinner for her partner, or maybe she might go to some beautiful walk. So everything might change when you do an action. You got an inspiration, and that's it. So inspiration, is, I think, yes, from my perspective, it doesn't come out of nowhere. We should do some actions that provoke this inspiration, and this inspiration, after, it might affect us, our mood, our future actions, our future plans, anything, our relationships. So imagine this woman, she meets her kids and husband, for example, yes, later in the evening, and she's dressed up, and they might say, "Oh wow, what's happened with you?" And she said, just I decided to change, and they would be all inspired by her because she would feel a different personality. She would feel more light, more positive, maybe as more like cheerful and laughing, and she might prepare a really fantastic dinner because she's inspired, and the inspiration didn't come out of nowhere. It was provoked by some actions, some this creativity, art, let's say, yes, something new.
Wow. Yeah. I really appreciate your input here because before you brought it up, I always associated inspiration with just a mental state or an emotion, something internal that cannot be observed, just like inspiration, something abstract. But the way you put it, that inspiration is about creativity and action. And I started remembering how regretful I am of some days when I did feel inspiration because I had done something previously or because I had seen something that evoked some positivity in me and I felt that urge to do something or that drive, but I didn't execute. I didn't actually take an action. So I don't think it's just me. I think that it happens to many of us that we are so trapped in our heads with the desire to do something perfectly or to wait for a better moment, but actually the best moment is now, especially when you have that energy, when you welcome that inspiration in you, and you take an action, and then inspiration can grow inside of us. And that also brings me to the topic of change, because we people can make changes to our lives either because of fear. We're like, oh my God, I don't want to be homeless. That's why I need to work. Or through inspiration, right? Through some image that we can imagine or that we can see in the outer world. And we're like, oh, that is amazing. It's not like jealousy, but it's more like, in Russian we say white jealousy, or we could call it inspiration. We see it as a role model and then we follow. But of course, in order to make that change happen, in order to make it real, we need to take an action. And I guess that, Dilara, you have always been an example for me how you have been making big changes in your life through inspiration, and how you have welcomed a lot of beautiful things, a lot of your goals to your life through this power of intention, through your mindset work, and yeah, through inspiration. So this is how I view you.
Thank you for your feedback, Dinara. I also, while you were talking and while I was reflecting on this, I got the idea that what helps, for example, me, and what I think would help people to catch this inspiration. Because yes, exactly, you first need some kind of inspiration to do some action to in order to get a bigger inspiration. Yes, but of course there should be something that should push you to do this action. Yes, and when I was thinking, I got to the idea that it should be your inner engine. Yes, and um, maybe as I know myself, I know that I'm very easily turned on. Yes, it doesn't matter what sphere. Yes, if only I have some quick idea in my mind, I try to realize it straight away. Even if it comes to even like I told you the story about how I decided to move to another country. Yes, it was a quick idea that came to the mind of my husband, and he asked me, and I said yes, let's do it. So uh, it was action what I made through my inner engine, which is that I think helps to do these actions. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
but your inner engine, how to make it full? Yes, how to make? You need to put anyway some oil, some gas to help your engine keep it always on and to be ready to do some actions, some maybe even crucial decisions in your life. But to help to get this engine on, I think might help is be in connection with yourself, feel yourself, have very honest communications with yourself about what you want, what you need, and whenever there comes the situations where you need to do some action, it will not be difficult with you for you because you are in contact with yourself.
Wow, I really love this metaphor. And when you were talking about it, I even closed my eyes, imagining this inner engine in me and in other people. And the thought that crossed my mind is that this inner engine is unique to everybody, right? It's not the kind of thing that we can just copy paste, right? What works for you is not going to work for me, and it's not going to work for my client. So, we as coaches, what we do is we help synchronize the person with their inner engine, focusing on their strengths, focusing on their resources, connecting them with their vision and with their self belief. And yeah, I just felt the importance of sharing it as I had this interesting idea while you were talking about the inner engine. I really appreciated our talk today, Dilara. Thank you so much for your time. I think that this talk has gone a little bit longer than we had agreed or as it had been expected. Any concluding words from your side? How was this for you?
Yes, we were planning to talk about 15 minutes, but I don't know how long it was in reality. But for me, any time I spend with you, it just like I lose the time. It means that the time is really quality, it's very absorbing, and that we're talking about something very important. and that is very relevant to us, to our life. And thank you so much for um, inviting me to join this beautiful journey that you are taking, and you are taking your listeners to sharing your experience, your knowledge, and I'm always open to be here to share my from my perspective what I can be useful with. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to our future podcasts.
Awesome. Thank you. Sending you a warm hug. Dear listeners, we would really appreciate your feedback. Tell us what ideas you found interesting, something new, or something refreshing that you learned about yourself, or the life, or the mindset. And tell us what topics interest you most so that in the future we could also use them as references. Okay, that was it. Thank you all for tuning in and see you next time. Bye bye.